Murrieta, California. You've probably heard of it. Well, last year I did a pro and con video of Murrieta and what it has to offer. Now this year, 2023, I want to give you that same update of whether or not Murrieta, California is good for you. In this video, I'm going to be giving you the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm going to share some good insight of what I personally think, given I've lived in Murrieta for years and I know the good, the bad, and the ugly. So you definitely want to stay tuned because we're going to get after it right now. So if this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything that there is about living, eating, breathing, playing in Murrieta, California, then subscribe below and tap that bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Murrieta, California. Now, my name is Jonathan. We get calls, texts, emails every single day from people just like you looking to make their move. And you know what? We absolutely love it. So whether you're deciding to move in maybe 9 days or eventually 90 days, 900 days, you could always give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and we will love to help you make that smooth move to the beautiful city of Murrieta, California. Now, before I really deep dive into the good, the bad, and the ugly, I do want to share some insight. So just kind of give you a little bit of update where we at with population. So Murrieta is still a growing city. It's not growing rapidly anymore, but it's still growing. So the population, from what I've looked into, it's going to range anywhere from 110 to tops 120, right? There's never a certain accurate data when it comes to population. People are always moving in and out. And so when they get those census, the last one that they got was 112. But some estimate up to 120 people living in Murrieta, California. Now, I am a big advocate. I might be biased here because I've lived in Murrieta. My first house was in Murrieta. I truly do love Murrieta. The big major reason why I moved to Murrieta, I don't want to spill the beans up front. I'm going to save it for the pros. But some of the amenities that came with it and just the location. Again, I don't want to deep dive so much into it, but for those of you who know where Murrieta, California is and some of the things that it has to offer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Murrieta is a great city. It's a clean city. They've got a lot going on nowadays. I mean, they're constantly growing. I remember from the first time that I moved to Murrieta, there wasn't a whole lot going on. Now, I'm not going to say there's amazing, all these things, going on now in Murrieta, but, before, a lot of the stuff wasn't built. Now you have marketplaces. They got an Amazon Fresh, the only Amazon Fresh within like 35 miles, which I think is pretty cool that Murrieta, California got selected to host that Amazon Fresh store. Now, they got other things going on. They just opened that new Costco last year, right? So there was the Sam's Club there off Murrieta Hot Springs. And now there's a Costco as well. What's funny enough is from the Murrieta Hot Springs Sam's Club, there's another Costco about 10 minutes south in Temecula. So a lot of big wholesale stores, right? Because I want you guys to know, Murrieta, California, it is a very family-oriented community. So yes, a lot of people that do live in Murrieta do have those families. So you got to shop in bulk, right? If you're like me and you got like 5 kids, you want to shop in bulk. I bet you probably froze and you're like, what, 5 kids? No, I'm just kidding. No, at any rate, yes. So Murrieta, California does have all those places that you can shop in bulk. They included the new Amazon Fresh, which is really cool. And they got other things going on. And I personally love it because all the events that gets hosted in Murrieta, California. So again, it is a very community-friendly, family-oriented community with some options to do within Murrieta, California itself. Now, if you know of Murrieta Hot Springs, it's kind of more of the major road throughout Murrieta. You guys know there used to be a school in Murrieta Hot Springs, a college that was shut down, bought back by not its original owners, by a person or company that's trying to kind of create it back into the hot springs that Murrieta used to have back in the day. So that's why there's a road called Murrieta Hot Springs, because there was hot springs. And they had converted it into an old school back then when it used to be a hot springs and like a little relaxed resort. Well, they're trying to convert it back into that, which is really, really cool. So it just kind of shows, you know, there's a lot of history within Murrieta itself. But I don't want to take up too much of the time here because I know that you want to get into your dessert. So let me jump into pro number 1. Pro number 1 of living in Murrieta, California, and bottom line, it's going to be the safety. This was the number 1 reason I had chose to move my family to Murrieta, California, was the safety. Now, Murrieta, California ranks among one of the safest cities in America every single year. When I moved to Murrieta, California, it was actually ranked 2nd safest city in all America. So, you know, without a doubt, hey, if you have kids or families or friends that want to come over, or you're just trying to go into a great neighborhood, you know without a doubt that Murrieta, California, you're not going to have much of an issue. So I'm not going to say there's no crime, but yes, you will have a nice, safe, tight community where, you know, the police department is on it and they're just like the best of the best. So, hey, safety comes first, and that is pro number 1. Going on to pro number 2. Now, pro number 2 was the second reason why I decided to move to Murrieta, California. I'm not making a Temecula video here. All right, so Murrieta, California, and that's going to be the public schools. So the education in Murrieta, it is superb. I'm talking about it is great. It has highly rated schools in Murrieta, California, as well as Temecula, California. Now, Murrieta, California, again, it has a safety. It has a great schools with the Murrieta Unified School District and the Temecula Unified School District. I mean, both of those combined, they have some amazing schools that are well funded, that are top of the notch. So if you are looking to relocate to a city that's safe and has great schools in Southwest Riverside area, Murrieta is going to be the place to go. Just bottom line, there's no place that can beat it. The safety and the schools together just was a big selling point for me. So, you know, if you're anything like I am and you want that for your kids, then hey, by all means. Now, if you don't have kids, and I totally understand, there's different options that might be better and accommodating for you. Now, here in Murrieta, again, safety in schools is one of the 2 of the biggest pros and cons here. Now, we still got a little bit more, so let's move on to pro number 3. Now, number 3, I've kind of already mentioned it. No, I did mention it. It is that it is community and family oriented. So yes, you will have community events. It's a very family oriented community where they host different types of things throughout the year, which is really, really fun, like 4th of July off of Cal Oaks. What a blast seeing all those fireworks, right? They host one of like the biggest veteran memorials events here within the area, which is really cool. It's a very patriotic community as well, and they just host other things in the parks, etc., movie nights. And so that's just a great thing about Murrieta. Again, it is family oriented, community involved, and it's just a great place to be, right? So hey, you don't have to go far, and all these things that I'm talking about, obviously they're free from the city that they host and plan these events for you guys. Now, they do have vendors that come and go, right? Obviously for you to eat your food and have your drink here and there. But yes, it is a good community that's very family oriented. Moving on to pro number 4. Pro number 4. Now, this is another major consideration why I moved to Murrieta, right? Was that it has the proximity to major cities. Now, if you pull up Murrieta on a geographic map, right, you're going to see it's kind of right dab in the middle between LA and San Diego, and also Orange County's right there, and also you got the desert, which is Palm Springs, right? And you got the mountains, Big Bear, a little bit north. But you can be in San Diego in 45 minutes. You can be in OC with the amazing beaches within 45 minutes to an hour. Go to LA within an hour to 15, right? So you have all these things that are so close. Within an hour and a half, you can be in LA, San Diego, or OC. You can be in the desert in Palm Springs. You can be up in the mountains in Big Bear. So the location, it is top notch. I'm going to say that it's probably one of the best within Southern California's There's not a whole lot of cities within Southern California that you can do that. But Murrieta, California, you absolutely can. So that is another big major consideration, especially if you're one of those people that love to travel and go out and about and kind of explore. That is a perfect option for you. Moving on to pro number 5. Number 5 is going to be the outdoor activities. Now, while Murrieta, California, it's a great option pretty much all across the board, the outdoor activities is really great as well. So there's other things that you can do, such as hiking, biking. If you want to go ATVing, or you want to take your side-by-side out, maybe you just want to go walking on a trail. There's so many different types of options. They have the Santa Rosa Plateau. They have different walking trails. I mean, you can go right up the road to Lake Elsinore, Lake Skinner, Lake Paris. There's so many things. And then within Murrieta itself, again, a lot of pocket parks, different types of hiking trails. It's just, again, variety of options. If you are an outdoor enthusiast, this is a great place for you, right? Murrieta, California has variety of options for you to do where you're gonna have a good time. Now that's gonna cover pro number 5. Let's finish off with pro number 6, and then let's move on to our veggies. So pro number 6, now this is kind of for more of you Temecula lovers, right? But pro number 6 is gonna be the access to the vineyards and wineries. So that is a big plus, is that, hey, there's a lot of people that call and they're like, hey, I want to move to Temecula. Great, let's look into Temecula. And then they end up buying in Murrieta, California. I kid you not. And there's a lot of reasons for it, but they, everybody thinks that Temecula, the wine country, like it's so amazing. But there's some parts of Murrieta, California that you can live at, and you can buy a house where it's actually closer than some parts of Temecula to the wineries, just bottom line. And so it's kind of funny that always kind of tends to happen, right? Now, yes, it does have close proximity, which is you're going to be no more than, really, I want to tell you 35 minutes, depending on the winery, whichever part you are in Murrieta, minus if you're up in the mountains. In La Cresa, it's going to be a little bit longer. However, it is a pretty close proximity, which if you love the wineries, you just don't want to move into the crowded place of Temecula, Murrieta is your next best option. So that right there is going to cover all our desserts. That is all the pros right there. Now we're going to move on to our cons, starting off with con number 1. All right, so con number 1, for me, not to sugarcoat things, that's going to be the traffic congestion. So over the years, because of how populous it has been getting, there has been definitely a significant increase in traffic congestion. So that's one thing to always consider. Now, there tends to be a little bit more traffic going on within Murrieta, California itself, which is unfortunate. But hey, if you want to live in an amazing city, like everybody else, then you're going to have to deal with that for the current, who knows how long. Now, the city of Murrieta does have contingencies in plan to expand and build so that, they can kind of dwindle down on that traffic. But for now, I'm going to let you know, you're going to be running into that. There is a lot of traffic going on now, especially on the major roads such as Murrieta Hot Springs or Clinton Keith, etc., and places like that. And if you live in some parts of where Winchester Road is at, as well as that. So that's, again, another big major consideration of whether or not you want to sit in that traffic, right? So that's going to cover con number 1. Moving on to con number 2. So commute times, right? Commute times on con number 2. That right there is what's going to drive some people insane. Now, I'm a commuter myself. I go everywhere, but man, commuting does suck. When I used to serve back in the days in the Marine Corps and I used to commute, man, some of those days would be rough. I'm just letting you know that right now. So yes, the average commute time for the US in general is about 26 minutes, 26.2, right? Now here in Murrieta, if you live in Murrieta, the average commuter is driving on average one way 31 minutes. So it's adding that 5 more minutes to your time. Yes, it is unfortunate, but in my opinion, in order to get the good, in my opinion, the good supersedes the bad, but hey, that's for you to consider after this video. But yes, you will have longer commute times. That is con number 2. Moving on to con number 3. Con number 3. This is kind of, not my favorite con, but actually I have a good story behind con number 3. And that is going to be hot summers. And when I mean hot summers, I am not playing with hot summers. Funny enough, quick little story. When I first moved to Murrieta, California, the very first day I ever moved to Murrieta, California, I had a little Acura back in the days. It was 2014 Acura ILX, right? And funny is when I moved to Murrieta, California, is that same day it was like 105 or 110 degrees. It was blazing hot. Well, that exact same day, my AC decided to freaking tank out on me. Stuck in the traffic congestion of what Murrieta had to offer me at that time. And let me tell you, was it hot? So yes, you can get some hot summer days, especially if you're not running with AC. Don't be like me. Make sure your AC is always working. Because yes, there is some days that it can get extremely hot, and I learned it on the very first day of when I moved to Murrieta, California. So that's gonna cover con number 3. Moving on to con number 4. So con number 4, in the final con of living in Murrieta, California. Now this is for those that, love that nightlife. You know what I'm talking about, right? Is you have a limited entertainment option when it comes to the nightlife. So you're not gonna be, doing a bunch of bar hopping or trying to go clubbing, right? That's gonna be right down the road in Temecula, right? So if you're looking for that nightlife, hey, Murrieta, California doesn't have that. However, 15 minutes south, you can get that in Temecula, California. And that is what you're more than likely going to be doing. If you decide to move to Murrieta, California, you're going to be going out there anyways to Temecula, California to do all that stuff. But that's something also to consider. There's not a whole lot going on when it comes to the actual entertainment nightlife within Murrieta, California itself. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, we still have some cool bars. We still have some cool places to go. Now, but again, when it comes to like, hey, you want to do all those, hey, you know what I'm talking about. That's going to be down south, right? You saw me moving the shoulders. That's all your veggies right there. That was all your desserts with the pros. Now what we're going to do is a little overview of whether or not, again, we're going to go over everything, a little recap of whether or not this is the place for you. All right, so stay tuned. Pro and con overview time. So that right there, again, is going to cover everything of whether or not Murrieta, California is a place for you. Now, in my personal own opinion, Murrieta is a great city. It's actually rated an A by niche.com because it's so great. Again, it has a great schools. It has the safety. It has all the, outdoor recreational activities that you can do. Some of the cool amenities. Some things that I didn't mention, is that you do have some cool movie theaters like the Cal Oaks movie theater. That is my personal favorite. You have Mulligan's Family Fun Center. You have a couple of options. Again, not a whole lot of amenities, but you still do have some options. So that's one big major thing to consider. As long as you can get over, really, it's mainly the traffic. That's what's gonna hurt, right? The traffic and the commute is what really sucks. Hot summer months, I mean, you're in California, in the Inland Empire, you're gonna kind of get some of those days where it's gonna get blazing. Unless you live on the coast here in California, a little, once you hit that Inland Empire, you're gonna have some hot summer months. But you know what? The winters don't get too bad, so that's another big plus. So hey, overall, I definitely do think the pros supersede all the cons of living in Murrieta, California. But again, that's for you to choose. Now, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I don't know why you would, but definitely comment down below. Thank you for watching Living in South California.